Good morning, everyone. How is everybody today? I hope you're rested, had a good sleep, and enjoying a nice kind of morning. It's definitely a little overcast and a little foggy out, which for me, if you know where I'm looking, across from me I have the Park House Pub. And then, of course, there's this beautiful gate, this entrance to the Lions Park. So with the fog rolling through, it's a little like being in a Dickens novel. It's kind of cool. Good day for candles, comfy clothes, and warm drinks. So that's what's going to go down here at the lair today. In the past few days, I've noticed a couple mentions of the secret of the vision boards. And then I had someone message me who, guilty, I did one. I had someone message me who said that she found hers, and she thought it was so funny because she had put so much energy into that. And there was not one thing on the vision board that looked anything like her life at this point. And I asked her the fundamental question. I said, "Are you happy now?" And she said, "Yes, absolutely." And I said, "If you could go back, would you choose the same things? Like, does that represent you?" And she said, "Not at all." So that offered me a perfect kind of a teaching moment in terms of what I have figured out about this law of attraction. So years ago, I did the vision board because I know, and we know this, we do manifest. We all manifest unconsciously, consciously, on every level, every day. So making something happen is real. That's what we call the law of manifestation. And if you decide, I'm just going to get up and make a cup of coffee, that takes you active in that process. And you do, in fact, manifest that. And the minute you think it, you move it into that field of probability. You give that the opportunity to start happening. And when you get up and make it, that's called manifestation. So that's a very real thing that was kind of missing from that law of attraction. So the law of attraction does state that if we are, here's a good example, we're going to walk by 100 people. And it's bound that we're going to run into one of those people. So the law of attraction would dictate that it drew you and connected you to that person because there was something there for you on your path. There was something that it was going to bring you, a place that it was going to lead you. So that makes sense until we look at the opposite of the law of attraction, which is the law of deflection. When we think of any experience, we're dual-brained, left-right brain, everything has a polarity. It must. If we didn't know the feeling of hate, we couldn't understand the feeling of love, day without night, up without down. It just doesn't exist that way. So there's a law of reality. So we have these dualities all the time. So what would this law of deflection look like? If the law of attraction is strong enough to make us bump into that one person, then in fact, my theory is that the law of deflection is stronger and more prominent because it has in fact stopped us from bumping into those other 99 people. And one could say it's the very force stopping an asteroid from hitting the Earth right now. Although I think we're pushing it and we should be very careful at this point. So what we have here, I started to ponder years ago this law of deflection. Well, how does that work? Because according to The Secret, if you think about or focus on what you don't want at all, you're going to manifest that. And what I'm here to say is, well, yes, we can find what we fear. If we fear a partner is cheating and we start acting out of sorts and bothering them all the time and going through their stuff, yeah, they'll go away eventually. So there is this dynamic where we do find what we fear. Yet in this case, there's a difference between focusing on something out of fear and simply and consciously making some fundamental life decisions about what we don't want. So even think of someone looking for someone in a partnership. When we think about what the ego wants, the first bucket list, we have two agendas here on earth. We do. Our first agenda is that of the human side, the human nature, and that cool ego that does love us, don't forget. And it's the one that probably did your vision board that included a nice big house, job, a partner, pool boy, to each their own. And that side made that bucket list. That side created that agenda. So when we go back over then to this law of deflection, by creating and understanding what we don't want, we don't limit the universe or our life or our higher self to that initial agenda of the ego, because it might say, I just want a gray brick house. And I think I'd like to work in this field over here. And if I'm going to have a partner, I'd really like it to look just like this. That's just the needs of one part of you. That's just the Earth's bucket list. Did you know that your soul has a bucket list? And if having all of those comforts too soon is going to distract you from the deep spiritual learning that you maybe came here to do, it is not happening, sugar. It is not going down. That is not going to manifest, no matter how many times you stare at it on a cheap corkboard from Walmart up on the wall. That's not it. So the law of attraction doesn't really do much. It's out there. But what we are attracting mostly actually is our lessons and our learning. And the ability to attract abundance or positive things comes first through that work. That comes first. So number one, look at this law of deflection. If we work with that, so just decide, well, what I don't want is a partner who I have to pay their bills or is living in a van down by the river. What I don't want is a partner who is going to be controlling, manipulative. What I don't want is a job where I can't use my creativity. Just give some thoughts to that. And don't worry, if you think about this and ponder it for a little while, you won't manifest it. That's not what's going to happen. When you just focus on what you don't want and what you know about what you don't perceive as a positive part of your life, and then release it, what you do is you allow the universe to be more creative and work with that other bucket list and that other agenda. I call that one the bucket list of the soul. And this bucket list is much different. It's much different. Yes, your soul cares about your life here, but your comfort and the ego being soothed and that childlike part of us having everything it wants is not necessarily its main focus. Its main focus is that, like a university course, like that we are getting the learning that we come here, whether we're enjoying the classes or not. So that law of deflection is working in our life. And if there's something you really want, like you want it bad, like you want love, you want a different job, you want money, you want to be able to just have a cottage, you want all those things, you got to look at why you want it and why you don't have it yet, because it just has to do with you. Because the law of materialization, there's another one today, remember that. Sell stuff I'm supposed to be saving for my book, but I can't help it, it's got to come out. The law of materialization is that law that I spoke of before. A vision board can kind of help in terms of visualizing something that we want or need. But to say this is the way, universe, you must go, how cute is that? No, the law of materialization is that what we will focus on, we will end up materializing. But it has to work again with that bucket list of the soul. And it works with the law of synchronization. One could say that this law of attraction we spoke of with the walking by the 100 people, is that attraction? Could that be just a random bump in and the person actually trips you and spills your latte? Because I don't know that that's some big purposeful thing. When we go through choices like that, when we go through things like that, there's a law of synchronization too. And the synchronization is what's happening when we're in the right place at the right time, meeting the right person. There might be literal magnetic attraction involved, but the law of attraction in and of itself, it isn't proactive. It doesn't really do much. Materialization does. Synchronization, the universe showing us where to go, it does. The law of deflection does. But when we practice the law of attraction, we limit the universe's ability to be creative and step above and beyond what is on that vision board. Because the bucket list of the soul knows that that is not going to be your same focus in 10 years. But you know what will be? Your self-awareness, your self-love, your healing, your life, your family, focusing on the things that matter and are really important. So I want you to take the vision board challenge. I want you to talk about whether or not it worked. Look at maybe what it would look like now. But I'll bet you most of you would say, no, I don't need to define it that way anymore. I just need to know what I don't want and then watch to see what the universe plants around me through synchronization and then moving within that law of materialization. So just a little bit of food for thought. Just saying, and I know I kind of get going at times, but if you have any feedback, by all means do share it with me. I have a whole chapter on this stuff that I'm getting there. Wanda, I'm getting there. I'm getting the book written, just so you know. But just have a little think on that for yourself and see where that takes your self-awareness now. Anyway, off I go. I have some people to see today. Just wanted to thank you for popping in and say that I hope again that you're all doing well and staying grounded and simultaneously keeping your head a little bit in the clouds and just loving one another. So stay magical, and I will see you again hopefully in about the next 24 to 48 hours. Have a fabulous Wednesday.